our chief, Fire Chief LaCroix, and the recognition he has as well. Today I had the honor to participate and join Terrell ISD in their Hispanic Heritage Program. Today, kudos to Terrell ISD and Tailored Events for putting on the event and opening it up to the community. And we're always looking forward to support the different initiatives in our community and support all the different backgrounds that make up the city of Terrell, our community. I also want to recognize all of the individuals within our community and outside of our community that donated to the various local nonprofits within the city of Terrell, Kaufman County, or those outside of Kaufman County that serve the citizens of the city of Terrell, including our very own nonprofit organization, the Friends of the Ryder C. Hulsey Public Library, who received over $5,000 in donations through North Texas Giving Day. And at each one of our council members' dais here, we do have a bag as a form of a donation through Friends of Library. So I hope that you'll take that with you on your trip here next week to TML, the Texas Municipal League, and sport that out, wear it while we're visiting the libraries in the communities that we'll be visiting. And for those listening, it's not too late to make a donation to Friends of Library here in Terrell. You can visit their website, if you'll Google Friends of Library Terrell, or stop by the library and you can make your donation there as well. And I believe they have plenty of bags to give away along with your donation when you give a donation. And then do we have other recognition or events that either council members or Mike, Don would like to mention today? Well, hearing none, then we will move on to the recognition for Sharing the Love Foundation. And specifically, we have Marian Stewart and two of her young ambassadors here with us today. And before we bring them forth here, I'm going to read a little bit of information, share a little bit of information about Sharing the Love Foundation. So Sharing the Love Foundation was founded in 2012 by Marian Stewart with the idea of encouraging youth to make an impact in the lives of others through different ways here in the city of Terrell, Forney, the rest of Kaufman County. A couple of initiatives that their young ambassadors want to volunteer in, and then also provide free opportunities for not only youth but the rest of the community include the Legacy Garden. They have joined Breezy Hill Park and have planted a garden there and have given, along with Breezy Hill Association, they have given the fruits of that garden to our first responders yearly. They also have free youth summer camps, some that have been held here at the city of Terrell in conjunction with a church in our community. And then they've also sponsored angel trees and much more. And today's recognition is, yes, a recognition for all the work that the organization Sharing the Love Foundation does. But it's also a special recognition because they're going to be giving the city an award. And recently they had a banquet for the number of years that they've served our community and recognized the city of Terrell. So I was going to be remiss if I did not offer them the opportunity to present the award and recognize the city of Terrell. And with that, I'll have the representatives from Sharing the Love Foundation come, and if they want to share a few words, they're more than welcome to speak into the mic, and then we'll have all of council go down and take a photo with them.
Hello, student council. My name is Carl Lee. I've been part of Sharing the Love, I'm going to say, since I was 7. It was something new to me, a new experience, a new thing. Ever since we started on, I want to say, Moore Avenue, right there at the Books and Cranny store, we were right in the back. We started from the lowest of the low. We've come up from since then, like, so much. I want to thank y'all so much for supporting us, because we would not be able to do this without you guys. We've been in Terrell for so long, I want to say, 10 years, literally. Starting this year's 10 years. The Sharing the Love has done so much for me for growing up, I've came up from sharing the love since I was like I said, 7. It's so good for me. Like it gives me something to do during the summer, all that good stuff. And I want to thank y'all so much, because if y'all didn't support us, there would be no one there to support me. Miss Marion, she's done so much for me for growing up. You know, even when there was no one there for me, Marion was there for me during the summer. It was a break from what I had to go through through my days, all that good stuff. So I want to thank y'all for supporting me, because y'all supported me as well as personally.
Hi, my name is Zoe Warner. I'm a senior at the Wills Point High School, and I've been with Sharing Love for about a year and a half. I've been participating mostly with the youth camp that we have every summer. I really enjoy it because I like working with kids, and it gives them a chance to learn from us bigger kids. The Sharing Love Foundation is celebrating the 10 years presented to the City of Terrell Legacy Sponsor Award, August 27th, 2022.
Well, thank you both, and thank you to Sharing the Love Foundation. I think we can certainly see, the efforts from seeds that the organization has planted in our youth, who are now, were once kids and now are youth, young adults here. So thank you so much for coming today. And really, Mike has been a supporter of local nonprofits and has had numerous conversations with Sharing the Love and ways to support them, and they in return support our youth. So I'd certainly welcome him to, if he has any remarks, and certainly step down first to accept the award, and then we can come in behind you to take a photo.
I'll say things from over here. The easy job is to support, and the hard job is to lead. So I'd rather just say, I think Marion Stewart deserves a round of applause for all her hard work. Everybody who joins in with a group like this does it not exactly knowing what is at the end of the experience and from where they start, right? And so y'all think, well, we got a lot out of this. You got a lot out of it. You got a lot out of it. We got a lot out of it. But I have an odd feeling that the more you're involved in it, the more you get out of it. And so thank you for that. And, just thank God for a great partnership, okay? All right, very good. Come on up here, and you get to be in the picture too, all right?
Brady and Andrew and anybody else that wants to join.
Thank you so much for supporting us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, sir. Yeah, nice to meet you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Hey, how you doing? Give a full hug. Awesome. If I'd worn my glasses, I could read this. Yeah, you can be in the middle.
She's too little.
Yeah, they're City of Terrell logo branded.
There you go. All right. Great.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Absolutely.
Thank you both. Next, we have our very own Chief LaCroix that will recognize our Terrell Fire Department Engine 611 crew.
Mayor and Council, I bring before you tonight the recognition of one of our own, our B-Shift Engine 611, which that day was staffed with driver engineer Josh McKenzie, firefighter paramedic Perry Melton, and Captain Tommy Nichols, and also driver engineer Derek Hill, who is on vacation, so he's not here today. So y'all guys come on up. So on March 8th, 2022, it's about 11 o'clock in the evening, or that night, Engine 611 received a medical call at the address on Lover's Lane. Upon their arrival, they found a 20-year-old female that was seated in the front seat of a vehicle who had just given birth. Personnel began to quickly assess, the situation and discovered that the newborn infant was laying in the mother's lap. The infant, which was born premature, was blue in color, was lifeless, and had meconium stain present on its body and on its mouth. Now, the presence of meconium generally signifies that the infant was in some sort of distress when it was born, and could potentially lead to airway issues and things of that nature. Firefighter paramedic, he was a firefighter then, he's a driver now. Paramedic Josh McKenzie quickly took the infant and assessed for breathing and for a pulse. None were present, so he immediately began CPR and requested the OB kit so that the umbilical cord could be cut because it was still attached. And, that way he could start treating the infant separate from the mother. Firefighter paramedic McKenzie continued with CPR. He was doing chest compressions, while Captain Nichols assisted with the infant's ventilations. The cord was cut, and the infant was moved to the ambulance. Once inside the ambulance, the infant was dried, warmed, and connected to a heart monitor. The infant's glucose level, blood oxygen level, and capillary refill were all checked in preparation for transport. The remaining crew of Engine 611, which was driver paramedic Hill and firefighter paramedic Melton, assessed the mother's condition and began treatment while a second ambulance was en route. Her vital signs were taken and IV was established as they waited for the delivery of the placenta. Prior to leaving for the hospital with the infant, vitals were reassessed and a heart rate was now showing on the monitor and verified by palpitation. Firefighter paramedic McKenzie accompanied the infant to the hospital so that he could continue providing and directing patient care as well as monitoring the infant's condition during transport. Firefighter paramedic McKenzie noted that the infant continued to improve while en route and his respirations increased to 24 times a minute. Based on this improvement in respirations, assisted ventilations were discontinued and blow-by oxygen was administered. Upon arrival to the hospital, the infant's condition had greatly improved and care was transferred at that point to the emergency room staff. Now, I received an update on the infant approximately 6 days after the initial call. It was informed that the infant was still in the NICU unit at Presbyterian Hospital in Dallas, but was doing good. He was eating and beginning to gain weight. Now, initially, the child weighed 2.7 pounds when they transported him in. Now he's at 2.9 pounds. The mother was with the child, and both were doing great. It is very apparent without the immediate life-saving interventions performed by the crew of 611 on that day, the outcome of both mother and son would not have been successful, and the young life could have been lost before it had an opportunity to truly begin. I'd like to take this time to commend the crew of Engine 611 for their excellent patient care they provided on this call and the professionalism and teamwork they demonstrated while managing a multi-patient event. Their collective effort symbolizes our mission to provide the very best medical intervention possible to our citizens. This time I'll present them with our challenge coin.
Shane, do us a favor, introduce everybody here so everybody gets to meet everybody.
We have Captain Nichols, he was the captain that day, firefighter paramedic Josh McKenzie, who is since now a driver engineer McKenzie, and Perry Melton, who's one of our youngest, newer firefighters that we just brought on board.
I'm going to say that not only are these folks getting challenge coins, but there's also going to be a catered meal arranged for these folks because we really appreciate it. And I'm sorry that our councilwoman is in transit here with our nursing background, Stephanie Holmes-Thomas, but it just makes a huge difference, and y'all don't need me to say that, right? We've all seen babies, that we've all had our own babies and taken care of them, and you think there's just nothing more wonderful than the blessing that you get to hold a very small child like that, and to save that life, man, that's something special. So thank you very much for learning how to do it and putting the time and the effort into the training so that you were prepared to do it when that moment arose. Thank you.
I mean, Mike said, I don't know what to say, I mean, you not only save lives, but also those that are just beginning, as we heard today, and a couple of things resonated with me, certainly the commendation to each of you, but it also speaks highly of not only our chief, but the entire fire department staff. And this is, today's recognition highlights the recent decisions that we've made on council to support our fire department. And this is one of the many examples of all the work that you do daily in our community. I just, I can't imagine being involved in the type of work that you do and the example you gave. And Ann, what a way to start at the fire department for our newest firefighter, I think Melton there. But welcome to Terrell Fire Department. And if anybody has anything else they'd like to say.
I'd just like to say congratulations, guys, for a job well done. Just to know that your job is so multi-purpose. You just never know what you're going to face each day when you walk into the fire station. And it was just one of those days you save a life. And the city of Terrell is grateful for it. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, I just challenge these individuals that, unfortunately, in the line of work that we do, we don't always see the positive things and the positive outcomes. So, keep this to the forefront so it'll help get through those days when things don't go exactly as planned. So this is one that you can always refer back to and draw energy from. Thank y'all.
Thank you. And then if we want to get a group photo as well.
Great job. Thank you. Great job. Thank you.
Goodness, I can't even imagine.
I'll even thank you. Thank you for hanging out and basking you.
All the time.
You guys are awesome. I really appreciate everything you do.
Yeah, you stand up. Yeah. It's okay. Come on up in front here. You're good. All good? All right.
You're tall enough, you can stand between them.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Gee, it was a shame Stephanie couldn't have been here for that.
Yeah, that was right up her world there.
That's right in her wheelhouse there.
Next, we will hear remarks from visitors. Dawn, do we have any visitors today? No. Okay. Well, then next we'll move on to adoption of the minutes. At this time, we will discuss and consider minutes from the regular city council meeting on September 2022. Are there any corrections or adjustments from council? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes as submitted?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes from the regular city council meeting on September 20th, 2022.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, so hearing a motion by Andrea Reese and a second by Grady Simpson. Say all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. But next we have discuss and consider council board responsibilities, and this falls under Don Style and the mayor. Dawn, is there any information that you'd like to share with us today?
Well, there is a letter from Andrea Reese in this, in your packet. It's her resignation letter from the TERS number 1, 2, 3, and 4 boards and the Power Center boards. And there are quite a few applications in there as well for council review.
And Mayor Pro Tem, I would also mention too, if you take a look at agenda item page 11, you can see that council board responsibility list. So whenever Councilman Royce resigned, that left 3 vacancies on page 11. So you got a building standards, park board, and a zoning board of adjustment. Those were all formerly under the Tim Royce assignment. And as y'all know, it's been standard operating practice for you guys to talk about who should get assigned which board every time we have a change in city council persons. So you might want to mull that over. There's no particular reason you have to take action on that tonight, but we need to change the vacant on page 11 to a name or rearrange the names however y'all might like. So that's just something to be thought about for, you could do it tonight or you could do it at a future council meeting. Totally y'all's prerogative.
If no one's opposed, my recommendation would be to review the list, especially the vacancies. Review the list, consider the responsibilities as a liaison to each of those boards, and if you're willing to continue to serve or you're looking to serve on a different board and share that feedback with Mayor Carmona before the next scheduled council meeting, and then we can probably continue the discussion then, and then move forward with finalizing those council board responsibilities. Well, hearing no objections, we will move forward with the recommendation.
We will need to move on from that one, if you would, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, to postpone any consideration.
Do I hear a motion to postpone considerations for item 7.1?
Motion to postpone.
Thank you, Andrea. And do I hear a second? Okay, hearing a motion from Andrea Reese and a second from Grady Simpson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Next, we move on to discussion items. We have item 8.1, discuss and consider appointment to tax increment reinvestment zone, number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 board and the Power Center board. This also falls under Don Style.
Mayor and Council, as you can see in your packet, this is the TERS number 1, 2, 3, and 4 board. And as you can see, Andrea's position needs to be replaced, and the same with the Power Center board. And this falls under Mayrani Velasquez.
I would ask the council support to postpone item 8.1 to the 7.2 to the next council meeting. Do I hear a motion?
You can make it yourself if you like.
Well, I will move to postpone item 7.2 to the next council meeting. Do I hear a second?
I second.
And hearing a second from Andrea Reese, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Now we go to 8.
Okay, now we will move on to discussion items. Discussion item, I'm showing 8.1. Make sure I have my, discuss a development agreement for 501 Bradshaw, and this falls under city engineer Steve Rogers, unless he's punting it over to Amira Mata.
What a great idea.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem. That's a great idea. I think that's going to happen sooner than later. I do want to give her credit. Omira does most of the work on these items, these next two items, so I got to give credit where it's due. And 8.1, 8.2 are similar items in a lot of ways, but we'll tackle them one at a time. These are for discussion tonight. They'll be on here for action on October 11th when y'all get back from TML. 8.1 is a development agreement for 501 Bradshaw. This is on the east side of Bradshaw between West End and Mineral Wells. And landowner has 5,529 square foot lots, 50 foot wide, 110 foot deep approximately. He wants to build a house that generally follows the guidelines of SF6 rules. He's got one option is to request a zoning board of adjustments action for a variance on the rear yard setback decrease and a small decrease in the building size. Or the second option is to utilize our infill development agreement process to do the same thing, and that's what the owner has requested. There is a map that shows this lot on agenda page 48. If you want to take a look at that, it's on the east side of Bradshaw between West End and Mineral Wells. And I'll be happy to answer any questions. I'm just keeping it simple until y'all start asking questions.
Just to clear up a matter for me, is this something that's been presented to P&Z?
It's a currently platted lot, so there's no platting issues. There's no P&Z action. This is just simply one that we're trying to infill. It doesn't meet SF6 guidelines by the rule because of the size of the lot, but they want to build on it, so they're going to need a variance for front yard setback and for the building size of the home, because it's going to be hard for them to meet SF6 rules to a T. And so this is one of those infill lots. This will not require any replatting or ZBA or P&Z action. This is strictly council will look at this in 2 weeks, be an action item. If a yes vote will allow him to build the house according to the development agreement, the rules we've put in place like many of the other homes we've been doing on infill. A no vote would also still allow him the chance to go to ZBA if council was to vote no.
I very much would like to design of this house and the square footage and what have you, if you don't mind, sir.
What I'm hearing, Steve, is that the size of the lot is smaller than what SF6 requires, and SF6 is the smallest home building standard that we have at this time. So the attempt here is to still have a lot that is developed on this lot by reducing areas like the front setback. I believe you may have mentioned the setback. But as you indicated earlier, and it's shown in the agenda packet.
It's going to have a smaller backyard than you would like because it needs about a 5-foot relief on the rear yard setback. But it's still close to the SF6 guidelines. And again, this is a lot like what we've done on some other 50-foot lots that we have. The width's less than desired, but it's still a doable for infill. And we've built many of these homes in the last
I guess
few
I'd
years.
also just throw in that the conflict points that we felt like we were having trouble with was questions about, well, what to do if you have subdivision, right, where we've got, or maybe combos, right, where we have a 25-foot and a 25-foot and a 25-foot, what to do with those, or what if you had a 100-foot lot, do you make that 3 or 2 or what, or 1? Those are the ones where they required a replatting action, and those are the ones that we're always going to be taking to P&Z. And this time, it was really just the width of this lot being in conflict with our SF6 standards. And so the trade here is essentially you're getting a masonry improvement, you're getting that boiled into the development agreement. Of course, they would not have to do that from a standard standpoint if we weren't going through this process. If we go straight to ZBA, it's just really an up and down vote, and there's no additional quality requirement that we can put on it. The other problem with going to P&Z on something like this is P&Z can't just say, well, build a slightly smaller house. That really needs to come through the development agreement side of it.
Okay, so this is the basic design right here.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So I guess I don't need a design. But when I look at this here, it looks like, where's the front? I see the alley in the back. Is the front, is that the part where it says Bradshaw Street?
I'm sorry, are you looking at this survey that's on the screen right now?
Yes, sir.
There's another, if you don't mind, if you would go, thank you. This is what it'll look like. This is the best info we have on this one right here. This is a layout, have a driveway that'll accommodate 2 cars, and it'll, the house will look generally shaped like the hatched area that's on here.
It's kind of like shotgunish, like, you know, like, step through the front door and you can see the back door type of deal. And I'm just,
That's what a lot of these 50-foot lots look like.
I really don't desire to see shotgun style houses in my district. I don't know, I mean, it looks, that's what it looks like here. Maybe if I see a better model of it, I can probably get a good visual, but I definitely want nice quality, you know, homes. I just don't want to see a lot of homes that are long and shotgun like. That's a big pet peeve for me and a lot of the citizens that I represent. So I don't know. I guess I have to take a closer look at it.
Do I hear any other concerns or feedback from council members? This item will come back in 2 weeks for discuss and consider, and I would certainly encourage anyone that has questions or concerns to follow up with Steve, help answer those questions. I know in the past it's been helpful for me to also go and view the lot to get an idea of what those dimensions may look like. Last question, I do have one question for you, Steve. Do we have the developer of this home at the meeting today?
Well, we do not. We can ask them for attendance if you want to at the meeting on the 11th.
Given the concerns of the council, Steve, I think it would probably be wise if they were here.
I would like that.
I was just wondering about the, like, this appears to be a 1-story.
That's correct.
So, it might look better to reduce the footprint and do a 2-story there.
That's the only other option.
Well,
Same problem we've had.
again, this is a good discussion, but it's a struggle we have as an older community with a lot of currently platted lots that are too small for our current regulations. And so we have all these 50-foot lots, and we have a lot of builders coming to Terrell trying to build houses for people on these currently platted lots, or they're taking lots that are 25-foot wide and trying to combine 2 of those because that's the way it fits within other houses or other issues. And so what it does, it creates the narrow, I don't like to use the word shotgun, but it creates a narrow, long house is what it does to build anything of substance. Some of these have built 2-story houses, and the problem you get into there, I think, and I'm sure council members have their own opinion about this, but again, if you're in an area where there's no 2-story house and somebody builds one next to you, it really doesn't fit in to the neighborhood. And so that's another problem I think we're seeing as well.
Yeah, and I guess I would just offer council something Steve started with, and that is, remember, our regulatory authority associated with something like this. The landowners got 2 options legally. One legal option is negotiate a development agreement with City Council and move forward in that direction. Another option is to go forward to P&Z. I'm sorry, to ZBA. Under a ZBA option for a house like this, they would be able to go forward to ZBA, and it would be a lawful action for P&Z to say, yes, it is a hardship. You own a 50-foot lot and a zoning requirement here of a 65-foot lot. So therefore, we approve this number of setback changes to allow you to build this. And in fact, that's a pretty good ZBA case for this builder. And so what we're trying to do is just balance this question of, okay, some of the projects you've seen have been ones that are the right fit to go to P&Z. And we have a whole conversation there about the discretionary ability of P&Z to combine or not combine lots in a certain way, right? So we had a lot of conversation about that. This is a little bit different of a project because in this particular case, they have a lawful hardship of saying, well, it's a 65-foot zoning requirement and a 50-foot lot. They could get a simple simple ZBA vote to move forward on the project. And so that's really why you're seeing it, is we're trying to say, well, it's pretty straightforward ZBA item. If you want a project like this or a house like this to go to ZBA, that's y'all's discretion at council, that's okay. I'm just saying that if they do that, then that opens them up to maybe a little bit less regulation than what this development agreement is doing.
Well, I just want to be very frank in saying that there are a few homes that are in my district where the houses are built along shotgun type of manner, for lack of a better word. And I made a very strong statement in our budget meeting that I do not want to see those type of homes. I don't want that to be a trend in my district. And I'm not saying that this can't work. It's just really hard to see what it really looked like just looking at a little sketch of it. So, but it just kind of looks like that's probably what it is. But I'll be more than willing to talk to, have them come here and just maybe they can ask them some questions, show some more pictures, and just kind of give us a little bit better idea of what they're trying to present here. But I want to have these kind of homes throughout the community. You start one place and then they're everywhere. So that's what I want to avoid. We have a few of them in our community already, and it's a big concern. I would just like to be able to deal with things like this up front before it gets started. If it's going to be a problem, but I'm willing to take a further look at this and see if we could possibly move forward.
My recommendation, once again, would be that if it's, I'm a visual person as well, and so if it's helpful to get a clear visual picture of what this looks like, possibly going out to the lot, if maybe scheduling some time with the engineering department, or somebody specializing in building as well, to maybe get a clear picture of where those lines would be at in the home.
Mayor Pro Tem, we'll request, I can't guarantee it, but we'll request that the home builder get us a visual image of the front facade, and that may help the discussion as well. If they have one, we'll see if we can get one for you.
The front side and back elevations.
Yeah, like I said, I'll just have to find out, or staff will have to find out what they might have. If they've got renderings of those, then we'll see if we can get them in the packet for next time around.
Thank you. And with that, we will move on to item point 2, discuss a development agreement for 107 Chapel Street, and this item will be led again by City Engineer Steve Rogers. We'll save questions for the end, and I will ask Steve to also identify if the builder is in the chambers today.
Thank you. It's same song, second verse here. This is 107 Chapel and Stallings Edition. It's on the west side of Chapel between College Mountain Road and Thomas. It's on maps on page 60 of your agenda. And it shows this lot here. It's a small lot, it's a platted lot, it's 50 foot wide and 75 foot deep, 3,750 square feet. They're requesting to build a house that generally follows SF6 rules. If they go to zoning board of adjustment for a variance, it would be for a front and rear yard setback decrease, as well as a small decrease in building size of SF6. The other option is the infill development agreement that we discussed, again with the same variance request embedded in it. This will come back to you again on October 11th for action. And again, yes vote would move them forward, a no vote would mean they still retain the option to go to ZBA and seek a variance. And so with that, there's a layout of the house right there. This one's 2-story is what this one is proposed to be. And again, we'll get some, we'll ask this one as well as the other one to follow the same suit of request their attendance at the meeting and a front elevation to get an idea of what it looks like. I'll be happy to answer any more questions related to that. Maybe the council member for this district won't be as tough as the other one.
Is that a two-car garage on that?
Yes. I'm sorry, the other one on Bradshaw is a 2-car garage. This is a one-car garage on this. Yes, sir. 2-story house, 1-car garage with the ability to park 2 cars in the driveway.
Well, do we hear any other feedback or questions for Steve as the council member for this district? I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you, Steve, and we'll have this item also come forth in our next scheduled council meeting. Next, we have business items, and we will move on to 9.1, discuss and consider the collection contracts with Kaufman County for the Crossroads Northwest Public Improvement District number 5. And this item falls under our Assistant City Attorney, Greg Schumpert, to read into the record.
Yes, Madam Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council, we bring to you tonight a discussion for the collection contract with Kaufman County for the Crossroads Northwest Public Improvement District number 5, bid number 5. I believe that's going to come under Mr. Sims.
No maps.
Is it not? Yeah.
I got it. So under the Kaufman County Assessment and Collection Contract, you recall last time around we talked about Public Improvement District number 5. PID number 5 is the one that we refer to as Crossroads Northwest, and it's the geographic area that you would roughly think of as being the second pond, the larger pond out behind Film Alley, the apartment complex that backs up to it, the future apartment complex site that people will refer to as Venture Phase 2 or Magnolia Phase 2, the future event center location, and then some of the other land that goes up along the wetlands through there. So as you know, with the other public improvement districts, we have council-approved assessment and collection contracts with our tax assessor collector in order for them to go out and collect taxes on our behalf, and in order for them to enforce the collection of those taxes by having a collection contract with us as well. So this is a standard template that they use over at Kaufman County, and it is actually the exact same terms of all of the other agreements we have with them, which is on a per parcel rule. And so you can see that on page 67 or page 7 of the agreement, page 67 of the packet, and they're showing you there the dollar amounts that they charge for collection. Those have been basically the same numbers for a while now. So again, we recommend it because we need to be able to collect our funds associated with this. We believe that we showed you in our budget this time around that that's about $20,000 worth of collections just in FY23. And of course, once we put this in place, we'll collect it every year. And by the time we're all up and running and robust in PID number 5, it's probably going to be around $120,000 a year. So this is just starting small and growing this public improvement district up.
And I would add to that, this is a contract much similar to others that we've had with the county that have been very successful and have worked well, and I would agree with Mr. Sims that this one would be one that we would want to strongly consider approval of.
And Mike, if I'm understanding this correctly, this contract follows the items that were approved in the last meeting regarding tax assessment. This would be the formal contract. So we've heard, we've discussed, we've discussed not this specific item, however, work leading up to this specific item for the contract.
Yes.
And do we have any questions or feedback from council members?
Yes, this is to Mr. Sims. I'm just I'm kind of a little confused. Is this for the maintenance of the pond behind Film Alley or just for the development of the area?
This is the maintenance side of it, right? So this is, we mow it, we dredge it, we, pick up trash around it, weed eat it. That's what this is for. Yeah. Okay, yes, sir.
Great questions. Any other new questions? Okay, well, hearing none, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, may I make a motion that we approve item 9.1?
Hearing a motion from Council Member Grady Simpson. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Hearing a second from Andrea Reese. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nay? Motion carries. Item 9.2, discussion and consider ordinance number 2923, will be read by Assistant City Attorney Greg Shumpert and will fall under City Manager Mike Sims to review the item, and we can I will ask that we hold our questions until the end.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. We bring to you tonight ordinance number 2923, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas, amending Appendix 1 fee schedule ordinance of the City of Terrell by updating Section 26 water and sewer connection charges, providing for the repeal of all previous outdated and conflicting fee schedules, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. This does come to you tonight on first reading.
So, Mayor Pro Tem and Council, these are numbers that you saw during your budget retreat, and then after your budget retreat as we were reviewing all of our fee ordinances. This is just the last of our series of fee ordinances that we have available for you. So the first page shows you the water meter set fees. These are numbers that are a little bit higher than last time around because, of course, we face increasing cost to acquire those meters and getting them set up. The next page shows you, again, some of those additional costs. Our paving repair costs are a little bit higher than they used to be, so that we've included those there as well. My favorite number in all of this is the end of number 4 here, where it says all other associated damage. Right now, we don't necessarily collect at cost when people damage things for us. Maybe somebody's out there with a piece of equipment and they happen to drive over one of our meters while they're doing a construction project somewhere. When that happens, we want to be able to collect all of our costs associated with that damage. And this is why this particular ordinance is so important, so we want to get that in place. The next page shows you just a couple of more items here. Again, a similar number with whenever we do sanitary sewer connections and the charge with paving repairs. And if you remember from probably 2 or 3 years ago, we started this effort of saying, gosh, we're really basically giving away culverts whenever we have a new driveway put in. Really need to start getting this up at a reasonable cost. I think we're at $45 or $55 per foot a few years ago. We went up to $75, $85 per foot. And then this is the last round of getting this to be more at a at cost kind of a number for us to get those culverts in. So That's what this update is, and again, it's the same set of numbers that you've seen at a previous meeting. We've just brought it for you on action tonight.
Thank you, Mike, and I will say, I hear from community members that have concerns when there is a vacant lot or there's a water line that breaks and city staff or contractors are looking to address the issue, and then the road doesn't look like it did before the work that was done. And I hear that more often than I thought I would, as we've had these infield developments, and it sounds like from what we've heard in the past and what we've heard today, that we're trying to make sure that we at least recuperate the costs for the work for the culverts and at this time. Well, do I hear any new questions or discussion regarding this item?
I have a question. What type of structure would warrant like a 3-inch or larger? What would be an example of that?
That's where I'm starting to get into more of a commercial example. Steve, you want to give us an example of, aren't I starting to talk about a Dairy Queen by this time? Hey, Director of Utilities, Mike McCaska.
You asked 3-inch and larger, you asking about water services, 3-inch and larger? Those are, if it's specific to water services, those are commercial. The hotels are like 4-inch. So if you have smaller hotel or something, you may have a 3. Typically, they're a 4, but basically, the city does not install those. So it's at a contractor's cost. You're not going to have something like that at a residence. We typically install 3/4 or 1 inch. And that is done either by city crew or we're contracting more and more because of the number of infill lots. We used to see an average of 1 a month, and now we're probably getting 3 or 4 a month coming in on these infill lots. We have so many new permits. Okay.
Thank you, Mike. That was a really good clarification for housing versus commercial. Hearing no new additional questions or feedback, do I hear a motion on this item?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, may I make a motion that we approve ordinance number 292?
Well, hearing motion from Council Member Grady Simpson, do I hear a second? Hearing a second from Andrea Reese. All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So we will move on to item 9.4 that will also be read into the record by our City Attorney, Greg Shumpert. And then this falls under City Manager Mike Sims, who will review the item, and then I'll ask that we save questions for the end.
I believe we have on that item 9.3, Madam Mayor Pro Tem.
9.3, thank you for the
Which is
correction.
to discuss and consider True North City of Terrell Statement of Work 22-01 and 22-02, and Amendment 1 to the Master Services Agreement between the City of Terrell and True North.
So, Mayor Pro Tem and Council, thank you very much for a chance to speak about this. We did a briefing on it last time around. You got to see Trace last time. This time we have John. I'm just going to quickly review what we're actually voting on tonight. You're going to start on page 78. Agenda item page 78 is Statement of Work 22-01. Those are the project management services related to our installation of Tyler technology and making sure that we have that correct and included, so you guys are actually able to meet those folks that are working on that, and that's getting our entire software system upgraded to modern technology, so we appreciate that work, and this is the overall management of that effort. And then as you flip through a little bit more, you get to agenda item page 82. That's Statement of Work 22-02. That's the managed services between TrueNorth-IT and the City of Terrell. This is the one where it's essentially the big switch from a year or so ago. We came forward, we said, here's True North, and we're going to switch from Alps, and we're going to put True North in place. We only did that as a 12-month contract, because we were interested in seeing how the performance would be. And as we talked last time, I think True North has done an excellent job. That's credit to Trace. That's credit to John. They've become part of the family over here, and we want to make sure that we re-up their contract and get them paid in October for doing good work for us in October. So that's the reason to have this moving on here. There are slight changes in the calculation, and so those are just embedded here. You saw those in red line format last time. Remember, it's a calculation of the services per device and the number of services, number of devices, number of servers, and number of managed servers. You can see that monthly fee that we'll be paying, $36,748, obviously subject to change given the numbers that we have in the devices and the servers. Then the very last thing to vote on is essentially, well, how long is all of this going to last? And that's an amendment to our current contract. And so you see there's your amendment number 1. We're leaving all of their terms in place, all of their performance requirements, everything we have them do, everything we make sure that they're accountable for us with. And now we're changing that term, and you can see that in yellow on page 87. So the reason it's stated like it is that what we're doing here is we're discussing and considering, and we'd ask for your approval on Statement of Work 2201, Statement of Work 2202, and Amendment number 1 to the Master Services Agreement. So that's my quick overview of it. They've satisfied a very picky client named Rebecca Anderson and done a good job doing it. And I appreciate Becca's hard work on this and the whole team. So, John, you want to have anything that you want to say before Q&A?
I honestly don't have anything else to add, but I'm just here to answer questions if there are any.
My questions have been pretty much answered. I mean, this is great for the city of Terrell. I'm proud of this project. I'm confident that True North Services will do an amazing job.
Thank you. Thank you very much for those kind words.
So I don't have any additional questions for John, today. We've seen you here plenty of times, and I've heard feedback from council, and we've had an opportunity to review the edits to the 38-month contract that's before us. But I will ask either our City Attorney Greg Shumpert or our City Manager Mike Sims to state for us again what that motion would be.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor Pro Tem, we would recommend that the motion be for the approval of Statement of Work 22-01 and 20-22-02 and Amendment number 1 to the Master Services Agreement between the City of Terrell and True North. That is the recommended motion.
Do we need to hear that proposed motion one more time?
Of course, I'll do it slowly. Would be to approve the Statement of Work 22-01 and 22-02 and Amendment 1 to the Master Services Agreement between the City of Terrell and True North. That would be your motion. Okay?
Well, thank you. And I believe I didn't hear any new questions from council members. Okay. Well, hearing no additional questions, do I have a motion regarding this item?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, may I make a motion for the approval of Statement of Work for 22-01 and 22-02, and for Administration 1?
Amendment 1.
Amendment 1 to the Master Service, and between Master Service True North and the City of Terrell.
That would be the Master Services Agreement, would it not, Councilman, between City of Terrell
The
and
Master Service Agreement between
the City of Terrell and True North.
and True North.
That's correct.
Thanks for correction.
Well, hearing a motion, do I hear a second?
I second.
Hearing a second from Andrea Reese and the motion from Councilman Grady Simpson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay.
Motion.
Motion carries. Okay,
Thank you very much.
John. Okay, next, we will move on to item 9.4.
Yes, ma'am.
And this item will also be read by our city attorney, Greg Shumpert, and then will be fall under city manager Mike Sims, and he will review the item, and I'll ask that we'll hold questions again until the end.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. Item 9.4 is to discuss and consider Teague, Nall, and Perkins Professional Services Agreement for the Terrell-McLendon Chisholm Waterline.
So, Mayor and Council, this is a fairly straightforward item. You've seen John Godwin talk about it from time to time. I'm going to ask you to turn over to agenda item page 103. That shows you water line that we want to develop that would pick up basically on the corner of 205 and Colquitt. As part of our State Highway 205 relocations project, we're going to be getting a pretty major water line out to the corner of Colquitt and 205. And then we'll run that water line all the way up FM 598, all the way up to 548. And then that water line continues all the way up to FM 550 and to a project up there called Trilogy. It goes past a project called Tellus that we all affectionately refer to as the Mann property. A lot of folks know the family associated with that up there at the corner of 548 and Big Brushy Creek. Cindy Fry here in the audience has been working on this project for quite some time, so I appreciate her. She's a good friend of Terrell. And we want to build really quite an expensive water line here. Step one in that is, as we're helping McLendon Chisholm get into the retail water business, who's paying for what part of the line? Well, that negotiation is pretty simple. This is about $800,000 to do the first step in the process. I'm going to tell you there's many other costs to come. This is step one, all right? Step one is, do we know who owns what piece of land? Are we able to identify that piece of land correctly, do a market study on it, do the appraisal on it, do the title services on it, make sure that we have a survey and we know exactly what we're buying. Part of this will be a 15-foot right-of-way, part of this will be a 15-foot easement, and we'll make sure that we identify all of it correctly so that we can actually make offers to purchase land. All of that costs for engineering, survey, and right-of-way $807,000. So if it was just Terrell and McLendon Chisholm building this out, we'd have to go half and half on it, and we would have to move forward at greater expense. This time around, as you can see on this chart, we're paying about $99,000. McLendon Chisholm Trilogy is paying $420,000, and Tellus Mann is paying $288,000. So we get all of the professional services necessary to purchase right-of-way and easement that would cost $807,000. We're getting it at $98,677.74. So that's a great step forward for us. We will actually be able to connect folks to city water in the ETJ area and in the city limits area going north of town. And it's probably the least expensive way we're ever going to get a right-of-way and easement out to what we think is the future second take point for the city of Terrell. So if you go back to that map, Dawn, on the map, you can see that we go past the corner of Colquitt Road and County Road 236. 236 is not actually marked on here, but as you all know, it's that county road that goes right past or crosses 205 and gets over to Griffith. And so that county road is the location where we think in the future we'll have a second take point with North Texas Municipal Water District, and we'll be dragging, we'll have opportunity to get our water, not just from the location we do at Mike Cronin Business Park, but we'll also be able to get North Texas water from that spot right there. So that's a great and important thing for us. And then it helps us develop the Big Brushy Creek corridor with retail water services by the city of Terrell. So this is our step moving forward. It's consistent with the memorandum of understanding that we have in place that council already approved with the city of McLendon Chisholm. And I would say when somebody else is paying $700,000 and you're paying $100,000, you got a good deal going, and it's time to move forward. So I appreciate John Godwin's work on this and the whole rest of the team that's been collaborating on it. So happy to take any questions on it.
Thank you, Mike. And we've had, as you mentioned, the work leading up to today's professional services agreement that you reviewed. We've heard the work over the last couple of months here at council, and as you mentioned, we're paying about a little over $98,000 compared to the over $800,000 total cost for all the work outlined in the in professional services agreement. Do I hear any new questions or discussion regarding this item?
Yes, real quickly, just correct me on this, Mr. Sims. McLendon Chisholm is paying for the survey or whatever that needs to be done?
So, yeah, think of it this way. I've got to go survey land, and so we want to share that cost. So they're paying for, if you think of it as slices of the pie, they're paying for 7 pieces of the pie. We're paying for 1 piece of the pie. And so, we're doing our share, and their share is just much larger. McLendon Chisholm is doing it through 2 developments, and so that's good. That's rejiggered the math for us to be more favorable for the city of Terrell, and so we like that a lot. And those 2 developers are paying the lion's share of this thing because McLendon Chisholm is operating through those developers on this. Yeah. I will mention also that we did anticipate the question about, well, wait a minute here, what happens if one of the developers should fail to pay their share? There's actually side agreements that I've included a copy here that we'll be signing as well that allow us to recoup our money from the developers if they fail to pay their share. So, yeah. Covered. Trust but verify, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. And if I may, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I would recommend if the council wishes to go forward, that the motion would be to approve the professional services agreement for the Terrell-McLendon Chisholm Waterline.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Greg. Well, do I hear a motion for item 9.4?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor would make a motion that we improve the service agreement for the Terrell and Chisholm water.
McLendon Chisholm. McLendon Chisholm.
McLendon and Chisholm water.
You got it.
Hearing a motion from Councilmember Grady Simpson, do I have a second? A second. Okay, hearing a second from Andrea Reese. Councilmember, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Okay. Motion carries. And then we will have our City Attorney Greg Shumper read item 9.5 into the record, and this item falls under City Manager Mike Sims, who will review the item, and I'll ask that we hold any new questions and discussions until the end.
I believe we have that being passed before us. Thank you, ma'am. Madam Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, we bring to you tonight Resolution number 2040, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Texas, authorizing the city manager to represent the City of Terrell in trustee elections of the Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool Board of Trustees elections and declaring an effective date.
So, Mayor and Council, this is a bit of inside baseball. So our insurance company, for things that might happen bad around here, is the Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool. And from time to time, they need to elect trustees. As an example about what they do, let's just say, for example, we blow out a tire while we're driving down State Highway 34 on some piece of city equipment. We're driving a backhoe from point A to point B, or we're moving a water truck from point A to point B, or a dump truck from point A to point B. And we're driving along, we have a blowout, and we skid off the side of the road and knock over somebody's mailbox or run into something. Well, okay, we've got a claim. We got to pay a claim. So our insurance company picks that up, they review that, they see who's at fault, see what needs to get done, they make a payment associated with that. So obviously, you got a trustee looking over all of that. So every couple of years, they'll bring forward and do a trustee election. In order to put somebody on the board as a trustee, you've got to pass a resolution that assigns somebody the job of reviewing all of those resumes. So we've done that through city manager in the past, so I'm kind of staying on the same track here that we've done in the past. And so resolution number 2040 basically gives me the job of reading some resumes of folks who would be willing to serve And this is a statewide board, right? So you're talking about people from all over the state of Texas. So I would go out, I would read the resumes of different people who are willing to serve as trustees on the Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool. I'd select, okay, this person looks like they're the most qualified to serve on the board for Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool. I'd sign up and say, okay, person A, person B, so on down the line, and send that in. So we tend to get those, not real frequently, but occasionally they'll have a contested election, and we just need to have a identified representative to do that. So I'm just picking standard process of the way we've done it in the past and saying, if you'd like, you can assign me to do that work.
And Mike, I'm hearing that you are more than willing to continue to serve as the city of Terrell's representative on, for the TML risk pool should your assistance be needed if a trustee election occurs.
Right, yeah, just my job to review applications and give an opinion.
Mr. Simmons, this is setting you up to be governor.
Do I hear any questions or discussion regarding this item? Well, hearing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to accept Resolution 2040.
Hearing a motion from Andrea Reese, do I have a second?
I second.
Hearing a motion from Councilmember Grady Simpson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. And at this time, we will move forward with the consent agenda. And unless I hear that a specific agenda item from the consent agenda should be pulled to be reviewed separately, then we will consider all the items under the consent agenda in one motion. Well, hearing no request to do so, we will have Greg Shumpert.
Yes, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, as you stated, items on the consent agenda are most of them ordinances on second reading. Unless any member of the council wishes to have one or more of these items considered separately, then all of the consent items can be considered and may be enacted by one motion and one vote.
Thank you, Greg. Do I hear a motion regarding the consent agenda?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. May I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented?
Hearing a motion from Councilmember Grady Simpson, do I have a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilmember Andrea Reese. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. And that concludes the business item section. We will now move forward with, we still have.
Do we have an executive? We do have an executive session.
We will move forward with the executive session at this time. And, excuse me, and if we will have, we will adjourn into executive session in accordance with Section 551 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. Section 551.087, deliberations regarding economic development negotiations. At this